I lost over $21,000 in 2023 dropshipping, and quite honestly, a lot of that money lost could have been saved with the right guidance. Except if you can learn from these mistakes without having to lose money, that's a win-win scenario. So what I have done is formatted 7 ways I lost money in 2023 dropshipping, so you can use them to make sure you don't lose money in 2024. Now, some of the changes you may implement may be super simple to do, and others may be more complex, but put together in the right way, it's going to save you a ton of money in the long term when you're running an e-commerce business. So first of all, payment processes. Now, if it's your first time running a dropshipping store, you probably don't understand all of these holds with PayPal, Stripe, and Shopify payments. However, anyone who's been mildly successful in dropshipping understands the pain of having a Stripe account held for 5K and multiple PayPal accounts being shut down because of slow shipping time. Now, there's 2 main ways that I've been able to combat this towards the end of the year, although I've had this issue now for multiple years. One is switching over to a private payment processor. What that is a smaller bank or a financial institution which is going to typically charge you a higher fee, but in order to have your payments almost instantly available in the bank. Now, down in the description, I've left a few links of payment processors. Do your own research at the end of the day. They all work in a sort of similar way, but please do your research before banking with somebody. Don't just judge it off one YouTube recommendation. Now, secondly is using a site such as SyncTrack, which syncs up your orders from Shopify and then uploads them to any of your payment processors, whether that's Stripe, Shopify Payments, or PayPal. What many people do is manually submit it one by one when a case arises, but if you can combat that before the mistake even happens, you're going to be able to save a lot of time and a lot of money. Because even if you refund the customer after a dispute, you're still going to be paying this dispute fee in between. And if you can auto sync all of those tracker numbers beforehand, it's going to answer a lot of questions from your customers to even open a dispute up in the first place. Now, suppliers are often things that are overlooked and easily cost cut just to get a lower unit price and a poorer customer quality. This is going to mean you're going to get various disputes, you're going to have slow shipping times, and it's going to be very difficult to build an actual brand when you're simply just dropshipping the product. If you're using a site like AliExpress or Alibaba, chances are you have no personal relationship at all with your dropshipping supplier. And that's a huge downside when you want to scale your brand further, put custom branding on, and simply just save cost per unit price. So simply, all you have to do is head over to Upwork. So we're in my Upwork dashboard right now, and simply I'm going to show you what the job post looks like and what we want to do when hiring people and finding the correct either virtual assistant or a private supplier for your brand. So in this case, this is for my software company Videx, and we're looking for a part-time virtual assistant and social media manager. Simply outline everything that you want on either a note or a Google document, and then ask ChatGPT to go ahead and expand it. Remember to read over everything and make sure it's correct. But if you have a little bit more of a chunk text, you're going to be able to attract far better talent. At least that's what I've seen. Outline what your sort of pay range is going to be for this kind of project and how long you're looking to hire for this role. If you want to do a contract to hire opportunity, which means you can start off freelancing and then go into a full-time role, also put that in place. Lots of people are looking for long-time work, and this is the kind of thing that you want. Now, if you've got any past experience using Upwork and you have some reviews already in place, that's great. You're going to have a lot of people on this tab here that you can go ahead and invite. The main countries that I'm looking at the moment is LATAM, which is most of South America. I see very high education rates, and the dollar is going to go much further than if you're going to pay somebody in the US or the UK. Now, once you've got some proposals in place, what you want to go ahead and do is go ahead to this message tab here. If you already have a message open, it will be far easier just to create that conversation. But you want to make sure you have some sort of task in place. Now, many people have great CVs, they have great amount of earnings on Upwork, but a lot of these people use agency accounts, and it's multiple people off one account to equate to the amount earned. So instead, what you want to do is to create a task for the specific role. Now, if you're looking for a supplier, I would get them to go ahead and quote some products for you and then go ahead and compare them to AliExpress or Alibaba just to give you a rough idea. Typically, a private supplier should be coming in 20% below what's displayed on AliExpress or Alibaba. However, sometimes the rates can be misleading with minimum order quantities required and no drop shipping as far as fulfillment. Once you've got the tasks all done and set across, then you want to go ahead and speak to them on an interview. You're going to be getting 40, 50, 60 people replying to you. And if you're doing an interview for every single one of them, it's going to take you hours of work. So instead, you can funnel down the majority of those freelancers to a much smaller proportion and then go and speak and see who you could work with the best from that. So now you know how to hire a VA in place. If you're much smaller and you're still not sure whether it's the right time to hire a VA, you can easily split it across a few different brands, which is just going to ultimately reduce the cost. However, if you can't, the easy alternatives is creating some templates and using those to reply with. It's going to speed up your time of replies. If not, you could use something like Tiddo chatbots, or you can set up an automation with Zapier, which is just going to automate the process. When somebody messages X, it replies with Y. You can build that up over time to make it at least a little bit more automated when it comes with Gmails coming through asking for order numbers. You can easily sync that up with your Shopify. Now, have you ever been in your store and seen an 8% add to cart ratio, a 6% reach checkout, and then you're only converting 1 or 2% of that traffic? That means a lot of people love the idea of your product, they see some value in your site, and they've reached that final stage, but they're still abandoning and going elsewhere. Now, if you have a poor follow-up sequence, that could be one of the reasons why your conversion rate is so low at the moment. Instead, what you need to make sure is that there's a proper SMS campaign following up on a post-sale upsell, and also an email campaign outreach. So that means anybody who types in the form, puts their name or address or any other information in your store is automatically going to get messaged either on their phone or via email about finishing off their checkout. Now, many people leave it a few hours, but what you want to do is keep the initial sequence of emails or text messages as soon as possible after checkout, possibly 15 minutes to an hour long. This is when the product is still fresh in their heads, they're still interested, and they can still remember exactly what they clicked on and signed up for. A normal drop-off rate for a typical store with no fancy integrations or add-ons is what I see as 50%. So you have a 10% add to cart, 5% reach checkout, and 2.5% actually go ahead and convert. But you can easily reduce those margins in between and get your abandoned checkout up to 8%, and then go ahead and convert 5 or 6% of your traffic if it's the right traffic and driven from the correct source, and then converted in the right way. Another cool tool, which is not sponsored at all, but I've actually been using the past few months, is this app called Propels Replay. I'm sure there are a few other variants of the exact same app, but what it does is create a screen recording for every single session on your site. You can easily spot out issues where people are misclicking or misunderstanding parts of the website and where they're spending the most time on. From there, you can easily make changes to your site related to the customer experience without having to either phone them for 15 minutes or have a consultant come on board and review your whole brand. Now, many people run either a general or a niche brand or a niche store. A niche store is typically either around one product or multiple products with some upsells in place, while your general store is going to be almost every product on the face of the planet, and can still be very, very successful that way without having a branded effect. Now, with a one product store, you would focus around centering the different products in the right places and easily creating upsells, flows, and funnels all in that one place. However, one thing that is mainly overlooked, especially when testing in different countries, is converting and adapting your store to the right location. Now, for one of my stores right now, the Italian market is doing particularly well. Now, the majority of the major cities in Italy are going to speak English, and for the demographic that I'm targeting currently, they will speak English. However, they're going to be far more likely to purchase when the store is branded Italian right to the market. So what you can do is go ahead and use a translator on your store. There's plenty of Shopify apps out there right now, and also is using a currency converter like Currency Converter Pro or any of the other ones here. They're just going to make your customer feel a little bit more attached to your brand because they understand exactly what it's saying and the tone that it's meant to be said in as well. Which, when try to convey a message on your website to your customer to say, we're a good brand, we're trustworthy, and you should buy from us, it's going to be much easier when it's in their home language. So you can localize your brand on a few different themes, and you can leave it in all different languages, ready for customers to buy, and increasing your conversion rates at the end of the day as well. By targeting countries outside English-speaking zones, you're going to be able to get lower CPMs in most cases and may see high conversion rates here or there, especially with targeted localized countries like Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. There's been one major change to my brand this year, which has virtually doubled my sales and is probably the best change I've ever made on my Shopify store. It's not only increased AOV, conversion rates, and the value of my overall brand, but it's not even that difficult to set up. And that's upsells. I'm going to show you some real examples with ones that you can easily integrate into your brand if you can't find your upsells right now. So this is one of the brands where I've actually been able to exit this year, and it's in the cleaning supplies industry. It's a 360 swivel mop with an attachable mop head on top of it. Now, clearly we have one obvious upsell straight away with this particular mop, and that's reusable mop heads and extra mop heads, because over time when you're cleaning, the mop head is going to get dirtier and dirtier. So as a buyer, I would think immediately this is something that I would want to purchase, and then go ahead and add that to my order. But what else could we potentially upsell, and when could we do it? Let's go onto the site now. So let's click through and see what else comes up. So initially we have our extra cloth upsell here. 5 extra cloths are only $3 a piece. So that's something that I would add here to the upsell page, but we're going to go ahead and add that to cart. Now, secondly, after we've gone ahead and clicked the upsell, we see a lifetime warranty. Now, of course, if the product breaks, at least how I run my stores, we're always going to replace it for free for the customer because we're trying to build a long-term relationship. However, if we can get an additional $5 on our AOV here to give a lifetime warranty to help them out, to issue a free mop, a free cloth here or there, a lot of the time it's going to be far worth it for us. So we're going to go ahead and add that to the order value as well. This is a clear example of what a 2 upsell solution would look like. We have our first upsell here, which is related directly to the product, and the second one is a virtual upsell. Now, the other products that you could look at potentially upselling instead of a lifetime warranty could be insured shipping, or one example which I saw recently on the sex chocolate e-commerce brand Tabs is a Melton insurance. Now, these types of insurances, warranties, or priority shipping are all going to come at an expense to you. However, they will be directly related to the product to further build up the brand. Now, entirely for 2023, I definitely made money and didn't just lose. However, if I had this video at the start of the year, I definitely would have saved some extra cash and maybe been able to invest that into other brands. But as long as you learn from your mistakes and start driving your brand forward every single month, you'll have no problem making money in e-commerce.